You're listening to Captain John Doe, real aviation stories told anonymously. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Captain John Doe podcast. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mindy.
So, a lot of you guys have been following along on our journey, and we made the move to Las Vegas this past year. It's really, really, really hot here.
Yeah, shocking.
Shocking. You know, it was unknown in the Farmer's Almanac, but it's September now, and it's starting to cool off. What does cooling off mean to Las Vegas, Mindy?
Cooling off means that we're back to double digits, baby.
Double digits, baby. 99.9.
A crazy thing is that we have been figuring out our airplane, our 1957-182 little Cessna, and as we've flown in Vegas heat, we thought it would be similar to Florida summer heat, and it's not. Our engine gets way more hot, overheated out here. So we've been toying with a lot of different flying days and how to cool it off and whatever. And we figured out that we have a temperature limit, an outside air temperature limit for operating our aircraft, which is 100 degrees. Anything over 100, we cannot cool the plane.
No. So it's been over 100 degrees for the past 3 months. So when Mindy and I get to go fly, it's got to be really, really early when it's 99 out or really late. And that really limits our flying. But this past weekend, the temperatures were right around that 99 mark. And I was off and Mindy was off.
Right. I had a work trip that canceled last minute, so then I was home with no plans, which was freaking fantastic.
And I've been wanting to take Mindy up to southern Utah for a while because it's so close. So we packed up Mojo, Saturday morning. We had some coffee and breakfast and took our time and flew up to St. George, Utah, got ourselves a little rental car and drove up to Zion National Park.
That was my first time at Zion. If you guys haven't been there, highly recommend. We're going to go back. It was such a short trip for us. We got in Saturday afternoon. We went in the park just for a couple hours at the very end of the evening before they closed the park. So we pretty much just rode the bus and saw a bunch of animals. We saw
a lot of animals.
Mule deer, turkey. Do you remember what kind of turkey were they?
Western turkeys.
No, they're not Western turkeys.
They wore cowboy hats.
Oh, it was a funny name.
Just like the quails.
Huge turkey, lots of turkey, and lots of little critters. Like, very surprised by that. And then the next day we went in bright and early. We hiked all day long. Well, not all day long because we flew home. We hiked, I don't know, like 7-ish miles. We went to the Emerald Pools. Highly recommend that. We saw a snake in one of the pools. It's so weird seeing wildlife in the desert. I don't know.
It is. I think what I didn't know is you can't drive in the park. And it's a really tiny park, and it was awesome. Like, the experience was great because you just hopped on a bus, and then they drove you up and down. It's about a 9-mile road, and the park is clean. There's no one on the road. You hop off on your wherever stop and then just go into the wilderness.
I think it's a genius way for parks to do a system like that. Like you said, it was really clean. I think it was because people weren't driving in with all their little applesauce snacks for their kids and their whole picnics and leaving all this trash behind. There wasn't overflowing trash cans everywhere. You only bring in what you can carry with you, which is not a lot. So that was really cool. And then it was just so easy to navigate. We did 0, and I cannot stress this enough, 0 ounces of research.
To the extent where we didn't have a place to stay on the drive from St. George to Zion.
We did 0 research. Like I said, my work trip canceled last minute, so all of a sudden I was left with no plans, an airplane, and a husband, and we were like, let's go do something. Let's go to Zion. It was only an hour flight away. So we went and we did not research a singular thing. I didn't even know if a lot of the trails would be open because I know a lot of Nevada stuff shuts down in the summer for heat exhaustion stuff. So it was open. We went, and like Kevin said, we landed we got a rental car and we were almost to Zion and still didn't even have a hotel room. That's how much we didn't plan this.
It was a great trip. Like, we've done those things in the past, but it's been a long time, and it felt good to get back into it. Like, and you got to get back in the air and fly Mojo around. What stuck out to you in that flight, though? What was that one little scenario?
When we were almost to St. George, everything was going so swell. But again, poor planners over here. We decided to fly at like 3:30 in the afternoon. And both of us are very well trained in this to know that you're not supposed to fly summer mountains in the afternoon. It gets so turbulent. But it was really smooth out, and we both got comfortable. We both always leave our seatbelts on regardless because they're kind of a pain in the neck to take on and off, to be quite honest. Thankfully, we were wearing them because it was smooth until it wasn't. We came up on this, like, gorge. Is that what you'd call it?
I call it the gorge.
A gorge going into southern Utah. And right before we got there, we hit such bad turbulence that both of our headsets knocked off our heads.
The window popped open
and hit our heads on the ceiling. And that's scary because in the seconds that you don't know the headset fell off and the window opened, it sounds like something catastrophic happened to the plane and you don't have any bearing of what's going on.
No. So other than that, it was an awesome trip.
That was really scary.
So we got hit with some little afternoon thermals, so to say.
Yeah, I did not like that. But hey, switching gears, I've been thinking a lot about anonymous things, and I got this memory, and I don't know if you're going to remember it, but I'm curious.
My memory's impeccable up to 1 minute.
Your memory, sucks. So me and you both went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Go Eagles. Both of us went to different colleges prior, but we both spent about 2 years at Embry-Riddle.
Go Hatters.
In my state college, I didn't even have a mascot. Anyway, do you remember... Thinking about anonymous stuff, do you remember that when we were in college, there was this app, and it was when apps were like a new thing, and you could anonymously post like statuses to your college or to a location. So I cannot remember what the app was called, but let's say it was whatever app, and then you typed in Embry-Riddle, and then all these anonymous statuses would pop up of like people dishing dirt about stuff that happened on campus.
Was it about like professors?
Sometimes.
I feel like I remember something about professors.
It wasn't only about it. And I remember this specifically because I had crippling social anxiety in college. I had not an ounce of the confidence that I have today.
We've come a long way. Way.
What was I like when you met me in college?
She was not a type A personality. She stuck to herself. She's very smart.
I was so scared.
She was
being
scared.
The only girl with 6,000 boys. I was like, do not look at me.
And she picked the doofus on the baseball team. So Good for me.
Anyway, I remember this because I had so much anxiety. I did not like being around people very much in college.
You like being around people now?
I was always so nervous that something would pop up like about me because there was some nasty people on there that would like say stuff about different of your classmates, like so-and-so's or whatever. Like it was just like, it was like hate mail. And I was always so scared that my name would pop. It never did. I didn't even talk to anyone. I don't know why I was so scared.
That's funny. No, honestly.
You don't remember that?
I know. I have short-term memory only. Long-term memory loss.
You should not disclose that.
That's a joke.
All.
It's a joke.
Okay.
But no, that's funny. No, I don't remember that.
Well, it was anonymous stuff. So obviously it reminds me of Captain John Doe.
It does.
A lot, but people didn't really use it for the greater good, I will say. It was very entertaining, but if you were the center of it, not good. It was pretty mean sometimes. But anyway, speaking of college, we would love some college stories. Write in, maybe you're in college, but maybe you just have a great memory like that about college, especially if you went to a flying university or you were flying while in college. We want to hear those stories. Maybe you took a date during college up on a small airplane flight, or
What are you insinuating?
What do you mean?
Took a date on a small airplane a mile in the sky?
I don't know if I want to hear that. I mean, I do. So send it in. I took you on a date.
You did.
In an airplane. Were you? Okay. I vaguely remember that. I'll say my memory is not the perfect one. Whenever this college girl said, hey, do you want to go flying with me? And you were not in the aviation scene. You were there to play baseball. Your major was ATC, but only because your mom signed you up for it. What were your thoughts when this little girl was like, hey, do you want to go on a flight with me?
So if you remember me back then, my ego was quite big. So it didn't matter that I had no idea what I was getting myself into, because there was no way I was going to say no.
How is that not terrifying?
It doesn't matter. I had this pretty blonde girl saying, come in the airplane with me. And I didn't even know what an airplane was. Like, let's be clear. I went to Embry-Riddle, but I did not go there for anything but to play sports, because I played sports at a different university. And then I transferred, as Mindy said. My mother found out that Embry-Riddle would take all of my credits to be an air traffic controller.
Yeah, they needed more ATC.
So my background on aviation was less than zero.
Why did you say yes to me? I'm just looking back. If I was in your shoes, I'd be like, you're high.
If I didn't say yes, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
I'm not saying you made a bad decision. Obviously, you made a good one. I just can't believe anyone in their right mind.
Honestly, I have no idea why I would have said yes. I don't remember any fear there. Like, I don't even know why I trusted you.
Me either.
I can remember you. I still remember you calling Daytona clearance, saying something about the weather, and I didn't even know what you were talking about. And they said, it feels VFR. That's all I remember. And I was just like, whatever she's saying makes sense to me. Let's go.
That's crazy.
Did we go to Hijackers?
Yeah. In fact, I only know that. I don't even remember us having a meal there, but there was a restaurant at a local airport at Flagler Airport called Hijackers that was popular to fly in for $100 hamburger. And I do not recall having a meal there with you. I'll be quite honest. But I was looking in my logbook the other day. I was doing a little logbook review for myself, and I saw that flight, because in my notes and remarks, I always put, if I like bring a friend or something, I put it on the notes of my logbook. It's almost like a memory book as well as a logbook. So I put in there that I took you to Hijackers.
Listen, that sparked the fire for me, because what did I do?
Shit.
What did I do after that?
You have this college girl that's
I backseated all your flights after that too. I would just come along.
I thought you meant that sparked your interest in me, not aviation.
My interest was sparked in you before I knew you were a
That's why I was like, no shit. Of course, you got this 20-year-old girl taking you on dates in an airplane.
I didn't know what you did.
Of course you were gonna like me. Had that in the bag.
In the bag.
And then you had the audacity to get mad at me for, on our first official date, I ordered the most expensive thing on the menu at this very cheap fast food Mexican place. And you were so mad at me.
Tijuana Flats, for those that know. It's kind of like Chipotle.
Yeah.
But not.
And
she ordered the Flautas, and it was $9. I was in college with zero job, and it was Taco Tuesday that was $2.99 for Embry-Riddle students. And you ordered the Flautas, I don't even know how to say it, and it was $9. I about walked out the door right then and there.
Which would be hilarious after I took you on a date in a freaking airplane.
Doesn't matter. Facts are facts.
Anyway, moving on. Please submit us your college stories, even if it was 30, 40 years ago. We want to hear it. So go to CaptainJohnDoe.com, submit your anonymous stories. Be sure to follow us on social media. We're on pretty much every platform. We post a lot of great stuff on there and teasers and whatnot. And then, of course, whatever you're listening to right now, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you're at, please subscribe. That way you don't miss an episode. Leave us a review and a rating. I cannot tell you how helpful that is for a new podcast. If you just scroll to the bottom and give us a 5-star, that really helps us keep this moving along. So thank you guys for being a part of all of this. Moving to our first story. I came across this and thought, this is bizarre and hilarious. And I've already told this story to several people in my life because of how freaking funny it is. It's actually not a submission. This is a news article. So I'm going to read this news article from the Los Angeles Times. And I can't wait. I've told you just the topic of it, Kevin, but I cannot wait till you hear these details. It's so freaking funny.
Well, let's do it.
All right. The title of this article is "Someone Keeps Stealing, Flying, Fixing, and Returning This California Man's Plane. But why?" Okay. While Jason Hong was celebrating his 75th birthday, he suddenly found himself thinking about his 1958 Cessna Skyhawk, a white and red single-engine beauty with colorful stripes that he calls his old treasure. He doesn't fly it much anymore, but given the occasion, he resolved to visit his plane as soon as he could to say hi, like to a lifelong friend you see around the holidays and special occasions. Quick pause. I hate that. That means that this plane is never being flown.
Period.
We don't like that.
Period. Also, quick pause. This writer is really good.
Oh, okay. Well, then shout out to Salvador Hernandez of the LA Times, staff writer.
Staff.
Okay. But, okay, if you have a plane, you got to fly it, or you're going to have a lot of problems. Okay, unpause. Hong headed to Corona Municipal Airport after church on July 27th, but when he got there, the plane was not where he had left it. Hong was dumbfounded.
Sure.
"I got confused," he said. "I thought, did I park it somewhere else? Did the airport manager move it? But I looked all over. It was gone." Hong was so shocked, he initially didn't know who to reach out to about a missing, stolen airplane. He wondered, did someone fly out of the airport unnoticed? How long had it been missing? The questions piled up, but the mystery only deepened. As Hong would come to find out, the colorful aircraft had been flown across Southern California by an unknown pilot, unnoticed, in a series of joy rides, or joy flights, at least twice before, and then was simply returned to the airport. Both Hong and police were left scratching their heads. The first time he discovered it missing, Hong reported it to the Corona police, unsure that he would ever see the airplane that he has owned for nearly 30 years ever again. After all, he thought, who steals an entire airplane? Then on the morning of July 29th, he got a call from Laverne police telling him that his plane had been found at Brackett Field Airport. "There's my airplane, sitting there in the airport," Hong said, finding a cigarette butts and garbage strewn about the cockpit. Who was smoking cigarettes in the cockpit?
It says in 1957.
1958, but...
No, I'm saying the year's not 1957.
Oh, yeah. Okay, unpause again. He barely had time to process what had happened when, frustrated, he decided to pull out the battery from the airplane, close it up, and go home. The plane wouldn't start without the battery, he figured, and he could come back the next weekend when he had more time to clean and inspect it. Except that, when he returned that Sunday, August 3rd, the plane had vanished again.
Again.
Hong reported the plane missing again with Laverne police and wondered what was going on. It wasn't long before he got another call. This time, El Monte police told him that his plane was sitting at San Gabriel Valley Airport. When Hong got there to inspect his plane, his confusion only grew. "I found it with a battery," he said. It hasn't been just Hong who has found himself befuddled by this disappearing and reappearing airplane. "This plane just keeps disappearing out of the blue," said Sergeant Robert Montez of the Corona Police Department. "It's just weird." Montez says when Hong reported his plane missing for the first time, he had last seen the aircraft in May at the small Corona airport. For police, a case of an entire airplane being stolen was so rare that officers used the same form for stolen cars to take Hong's report. Officers are also aware that the airplane has been taken multiple times and returned, making the incidences more perplexing. But Montaz says there's no immediate indication as to who the culprit is. There's no camera video, there's no real leads as to who stole the plane. After finding his plane the second time, Hong said he's tried to put out details of the thefts together, but the more he learns, the more he grows confused about the circumstances. Hong looked up his plane on FlightAware, a site that tracks flights and aircraft, and found that on his 75th birthday, someone took off with his airplane from the Laverne Airport at 9:54 p.m. for a 51-minute flight that at one point neared Palm Springs. A few hours later, on July 26th, the colorfully striped airplane was in the air once again, this time for a brief 22-minute flight from Riverside County toward Laverne that started at about 1:30 a.m. It was the next day that Hong would discover it missing. At first, Hong said he thought it might have been a random incident, but the details of the repeating incidences didn't make sense to him. The multiple flights indicate that whoever taken this plane has had some sort of flight training since they've been able to land the plane on multiple occasions. Landing's not easy, so they're trained, he said. Okay, that's obvious.
Thanks.
Hong said he has also found a headset in the plane, as well as a brand new battery to replace the one that he removed.
Wild.
Meaning this mysterious pilot spent hundreds of dollars on equipment to get this airplane back in the air. The replacement of the battery, Hong said, also suggests it's someone familiar with not just flying, but the mechanics of the airplane, as they seem to have the tools and the know-how about the type of battery needed and how to install it. Having his airplane stolen has been frustrating, Hong said. But learning that the thief has also been spending money and equipment to use and return the plane has been so confusing. Someone breaks into your home, they're looking for jewelry or cash, right? He said. But in this case, what's the purpose? It's like someone breaks my window and then they put a new one up. The fact that someone's been traveling in it to different airports also puzzles him. The Yorba Linda resident says he's spoken to regular pilots and employees at the San Gabriel Valley Airport who said they saw the airplane flying in and out of the airport multiple times in July. On and off, they flew in and out, almost an entire month without knowing. This is a very rare situation. One regular at the airport, Hong said, told him that he saw a woman about 5 feet 3 inches tall in her 40s or 50s flying and sitting in the airplane on multiple occasions.
So we got a Captain Jane Doe.
Hey-o.
Oh.
The man told Hong that he had a conversation with her at one point and distinctly remembered her because she was often seen sitting in the cockpit during the day, making people at the airport wonder why she wanted to just relax in the air-conditioned airport lounge. Very strange, Hong said. For now, Hong has chained his plane at the San Gabriel Valley Airport, and said he's uncomfortable flying it until he can thoroughly inspect it. Oh, now he's worried about flying it. Other than that, he's not sure what to do to keep his airplane grounded or to find out who's been secretly flying it. I have no idea what to do, he said. It's the strangest thing.
Wow. I got a lot of thoughts there, and I want to go in 1,000 different directions. But the first one is at least the old bird is getting some flight time.
I would say they're doing him a favor by keeping that airplane running.
Number two, I would say, what airplanes on that field are missing a battery? Because that's where my brain first goes to.
Oh, you think they may have stole it from a different plane?
Of course they stole it. So like this,
but you said there was a brand new battery. He said brand new.
You say brand new, but like these people are going and flying at night, so they're not getting a brand new battery at night. They just popped it off somebody else and happened to be brand new.
So now, not to stereotype, but do we think this woman, this 5'3" woman walking around sitting in this airplane all the time, is the culprit?
Well, what
you think she's ripping batteries out of other planes and throwing it in this one and taking joyrides at 2:00 in the morning?
Do you think they're taking joyrides, Mindy? You think that's what they're doing with a stolen airplane?
Oh, you think they're drug runners?
What else would they be doing? So, of course.
But why, if they were drug runners?
So she's got the license. Somebody else is.
But a drug runner plane wouldn't be doing local flights, like from one airport over. They're not going far. One of the flights was a 22-minute flight. Why are you running drugs?
All right. Well, then they're just time building.
22-minute flight.
That is confusing because it's not like they ripped over to Mexico or something.
My first thought when I read the beginning was that Mr. Hong, Mr. 75-year-old Mr. Hong.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Had once upon a time told someone, yeah, man, you can fly my plane whenever you want. And forgot that he gave someone permission. However, that theory has been kind of debunked to myself because wouldn't you think that if you were the friend of Mr. Hong that was given permission once upon a time that he forgot about, that when you got to the airport one day and there was no battery, don't you think you'd call Mr. Hong, be like, hey, buddy, out here flying the plane tonight, you know, like you said I could, and what's up with the battery missing? What do you want me to do about that? The fact that there wasn't a phone call about that
makes logical sense, but nothing about this is logical. Because I agree. Like, Mr. Hong, the easiest thing is he told somebody they can use his airplane, but the battery
thing... But it doesn't check out.
The battery thing's wild, by the way. So you get into this plane that you've been ripping around. Let's say they're stealing it on purpose, and you try to crank it up. Then you got to get out. You got the flashlight. You go in the back. You look at the battery. It's gone. Mm-hmm. Then what? We're going to Spruce. We're going to go pick up a battery from Spruce and then put it in and then keep on ripping flights. Is that really what we're doing?
They must have, for me as a pilot, if I was a little pilot bandit out there stealing airplanes, if I was regularly flying a plane like that and then the battery was missing, I would be nervous that I was unaware of some major maintenance going on the plane, and maybe it's not just a battery missing. Like, I wouldn't want to fly that plane.
Which is why it's even more confusing. If they're stealing a plane, they could steal any plane out there. Like, why would you steal something with...
Because Mr. Hong don't fly his plane. They're like, this plane's been sitting here for freaking 20 years.
Mr. Hong told his niece that go rip the plane and build some time. And
then she's just throwing batteries in there, you know, smoking
ciggies,
cigarettes,
ripping darts.
None of this adds up. And I just I hate to be stereotypical, but I don't envision this person as a woman. Do you?
When you just told me that Captain Jane Doe is the one ripping darts and stealing the plane,
I think I love her. Bring
her in the family. Poor Mr. Hong. I hope that we get some clarity here, and if we do, we'll come back on another episode to see if Mr. Hong misremembered something, or somebody is truly stealing their plane, and then Netflix is going to make a documentary about this.
The police are involved. And also, why would that airport not throw up a camera for Mr. Hong? I would be like, okay, if I was the airport manager, I would say, all right, Mr. Hong, let's park your plane right next to the FBO, and let's put up a Ring camera, even temporary, and let's have video on this thing 24/7 till we figure out who's stealing your airplane.
Jeez, what would you do if Mojo got stolen and was brought back? What would you do?
And was brought back with cigarettes in it?
What would you do?
I don't know. I would feel so violated.
So violated.
That's my baby.
Oh, it would be terrible. That's a great story, though.
Isn't it?
It's unbelievable. Like, it literally is not believable.
It's so
because of
bizarre.
all of it. Like, I've read stories of people stealing planes before, but the battery thing where Mr. Hong thought outside the box, like, that one really drives the nail into like how confusing this is.
And that it's a multiple offense. You've read stories about airplanes being stolen, but they're stolen once. They're not then returned. It's not.
They're usually crashed or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, even with a stolen car, they're not returning.
It's obviously a pilot.
They're not returning it to your driveway.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, that's great. I like that.
It keeps me up at night. I think about it a lot.
I don't know if I can top Mr. Hong's story here.
Give it a go.
But this is a submission from one of you guys listening. And, you know, I'm all in on the CFI stuff right now. So anytime I see instructional-driven things, I love it. All right. This is a Captain John Doe story. It was in the 60s of the previous millennium and I was a low-time student pilot taking lessons out of Salem, Oregon. The goal that day was to learn how to handle stalls. My instructor wasn't happy with me. He was rather insistent that I not let the right wing dip as the nose broke away and fell. So I mentally prepared to stomp on the left rudder pedal so hard that he wouldn't know what hit him. Yep, that farmhouse visited the windshield 3 times in quick succession. Thinking to myself that maybe I can power out of this. I advanced the throttle. That only made things worse. And then he was leaning forward for that throttle. I yanked it back to idle. Now what? I had no idea. So I informed him that it was his airplane while my hands floated off the controls to be somewhere up near the ceiling, while my feet crept back towards the seat. Maybe this plane does have an ejection button and built-in parachutes. My mantra filtered through my brain. Never leave a good plane while it's still flying. This one wasn't. I swear. He rolled his shoulders a couple times to loosen them up. Forward, then backward. Hitched himself higher into the seat and slid his feet onto the pedals. Then he rubbed his hands together to get them warmed up. It was cold at 4,000 feet.
Taking his time.
Not that we were... He said it was cold at 4,000 feet, not that they were still there. Then he calmly stated, push forward to get the nose further down. Press opposite rudder to stop the rotation. Then pull the nose back up and advance the throttle. As he did each action in sync with his words. We were flying straight and level. He had one final question. You want to call it quits, or are you able to do some more stalls? More stalls, I squeaked out.
That's funny, because I feel like this story could have been one of your students talking about you, and it's funny how quickly you become immune to these situations when you're a flight instructor.
Yeah.
And I love the way he described his flight instructor, just cool as a cucumber, like doing a little light yoga, like, oh, I got to get ready for this recovery.
Yeah. I mean, today I had an example. So we were practicing, we'll call it power off 180s. So
what would you call it otherwise?
Well, we were just doing simulated engine failures,
Why'd you say it like that?
Because sometimes the DPs like to say it different. Anyways, I reduced the throttle when we were over the 1,000-footers. All right. So
during landing?
Yeah, in the pattern.
You mean a beam?
A beam, sorry.
Oh, I was like, during the flare, that's probably appropriate to take power idle.
So I just pulled it back.
Okay.
And I wasn't...
down. Hold on, I'm setting this
Sorry.
down. Slow your roll, Captain Kevin.
Slower.
You were a beam the 1,000-footers in the downwind, and you pulled power idle.
Correct.
All right, tracking.
So this is my first time doing this with the student. So I wanted to see how they'd react, because part of the training that this particular client is doing, it's on the syllabus. So he immediately unloaded the wing and pushed the nose down, which I was pretty happy with. But this guy is coming from 180, and it's his 22T.
Big difference.
Big difference. So for those of you that flown Cirruses, the glide ratio is abysmal. So right off the bat, I knew we were 0 chance of making the runway. And this is where it comes into play, being a yoga instructor almost in the cockpit. So I'm already ready that we're not going to be able to land this plane. So I just, casually chirp in, get the best glide. Try to extend your range. And he tries his best, and we're base kind of to final, and there's 0 way we're making the runner. So I waited, and I told him, go around. Once again, base to final with no engine. So, those listening, what do you think happened next? Full power, pitch up, and a turn. Accelerated stall, right? It's the inevitable. We're probably 200 feet.
I don't like that.
No. So, as a yoga instructor, I crept my feet up on the rudder pedals, like early and often, got my seat adjusted, and then I firmly planted a backstop of my hand by the yoke. That way, when he inevitably pulled back, there was nowhere to go.
I find that terrifying, and I'd like to formally request you to quit your job. I don't like that for a second.
So, with that being said, these stories like that you guys are submitting, like CFIs can tell you for days on how do you get to that point, right? Like, how does this guy's instructor get to that point where they're so calm and already aware? I can tell you from experience that the instructor already knew the spin was happening before you even started the entry.
For sure.
You know, so like today, I knew the accelerated stall was happening, going to happen before he did anything.
Yeah.
Period. And that's how you have to be as an instructor. You have to anticipate the worst case scenario there.
Being a good pilot is being ahead of the airplane, and being a good flight instructor is being ahead of the airplane and being ahead of your student.
Yeah, this one was definitely the toughest scenario I've ever been put in, but knowing it was going to happen is what solved it, because we're that low to the ground, right?
Right.
The stall was going to happen in a second if I didn't have my hand there.
Also, like, the coolness of flight instructors to not freak out. Obviously, there's a time for urgency. For example, 200 feet above the ground in an accelerated stall like you were today. However, this story about, the instructor, relaxing his shoulders and kind of getting a little light stretch in and just taking his time to get out of the spin just reminds me of, how you should approach emergency situations, right? And I forget if this is a military thing or where it came from. I'm pretty sure it's military. Of any time there's an emergency, they would train them to wind their watch.
Wind their watch, and the other one I've heard is take a sip of coffee.
A sip of coffee, or I've heard ones that are like to tap your wrist a few times. It just kind of like hones you back.
Think about what they're trying to get you to do.
Take a second.
Just
breathe.
Take a second.
Calm down. Don't let the adrenaline take over to make rash decisions. And just like allow you to like stay in a good headspace and remember who you are, where you are in the environment that you're trained for.
Correct. Because I'm a big proponent of reading accident studies and trying to learn from it. And the question I always see in comments is like, how's that possible? And I was with a very high time pilot today. It was so easy.
It's always possible.
It was so easy. That's how it's possible. It's so easy.
Identify that hazardous attitude, Kevin.
Macho.
Is that it? That it'll never happen to me?
Oh boy. You're putting me on the spot here.
Invulnerability.
Invulnerability. I was going through it all real quick.
No, macho means like, I'll never put myself into that situation because I'm such a good pilot.
Yeah. And the takeaway today is to not end on a negative note with my student is he took that really well. Like it was a good learning experience. How I handle myself in the cockpit, I think, is really important. I've learned that as an instructor. Like when a serious incident happens, it's important to make it clear, but also use it as a learning experience. That way they can not have that hazardous attitude. Because the worst thing I want to hear from a student is, that wasn't my fault, or some sort of resignation.
Hazardous attitudes.
Yeah. Macho, I could have got out of that. No one can get out of an accelerated stall at 200 feet, regardless of the plane.
Well, you guys did. What do you mean?
Well, we never got there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because I didn't allow it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean? Now you're macho.
Yeah, no, we never got there.
I see.
All right. Well, I like that. So keep on submitting things like that. It helps. Like, this is not a teaching podcast, right? This is an entertainment podcast. But you got 2 CFIs here. And if you're going to give me stories, I'm going to give you stories back. Yeah,
we have so many. Like, you guys spark so many memories. I've been flying since 2012, and I resonate with so many of these, but I'll say this next story I have for you, I do not resonate with.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. My family owned a Cessna 172, which I trained in. My instructor had a Cessna 150. One day on my scheduled lesson, the 172 was at another airport 40 miles away at a maintenance shop and needed to be returned back to our home base. The instructor's Cessna 150 needed to go to that maintenance shop and be left there. My instructor told me to show up to our home airport and he'd work out some way to get me to our 172. So just quick pause. Basically, they have a 150. The instructor does. The normal plane that this guy flies is the 172. They need to do an airplane swap at this airport. Unpause. So I arrived as planned, and an older gentleman I did not know met me at my instructor's office. He said something about how we were going to take the Cessna 150, and the instructor would meet us at the other airport. We jumped in the 150, and this fellow directed me to the left seat and had me do all the flying. I had soloed our 172 quite a bit at this point, but I've never flown a Cessna 150. We had an uneventful flight to this other airfield with me flying the whole way. When we arrived and met my instructor, his jaw dropped. The older gentleman with me, who I assumed was a pilot or an instructor, was not a pilot at all. He had been at the airport only because my instructor told him to come out and take an intro ride sometime, a discovery flight. I had just soloed a Cessna 150 for the very first time with a passenger.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So he thought that guy was like an instructor or something because he happened to be there at the same time and said that he was offered to go on a flight in this plane.
There's some awesome stories out here.
Is that hilarious? So this kid didn't even have a license yet. He's training. He had only soloed his own 172 and never has ever been in this Cessna 150 and hopped in it with a stranger, a passenger who he assumed was a pilot and was assigned to go on this flight with him.
Oh my gosh. This is the type of anonymous story you want because this is a great story to tell. But how are you going to back that up with your airline interview? This is awesome.
That is so freaking funny. I mean, I'm glad that the flight went well, but whenever I would love to have heard that conversation of his
When did
instructor.
he figure out that it wasn't a pilot?
When the instructor told him, when he got there, the instructor was like, "What are you doing? Why are you here with my airplane and this random guy?"
The random guy's just like, I want to ride.
He's like, "You offered me
It's the
a
one
ride."
stealing Mr. Hong's plane.
I wish I knew the end of the story, like how they got back, what the conversation was. The fact that this guy had just went up on a discovery flight with a student pilot is beyond me and hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, the positive note is that student pilot probably is ready for his check ride.
I would say so. He did a fantastic job flying an airplane he had no business flying. I think that's pretty amazing. Speaking of solo flights, I think that your solo flights were some of my favorite.
I don't know why you think that it was so crazy.
Let me set the stage.
All right, go ahead. Ego, remember, we've worked on hazardous attitudes, though, since then.
Your ego. Yeah, I know. Just to set the scene a little, when I was a young lady, I soloed back in... hold on. I made a note.
2012?
2012. I soloed. Yep. Well, I said that earlier, I guess. I soloed in 2012. And I was 18 years old.
Just a baby.
And brand new to aviation. I didn't grow up in an aviation family. My dad's not a pilot. My granddad's not a pilot. I knew nothing. So I had only been in the aviation scene for a very small amount of time. And so my first solo, I was shitting bricks. I was so scared. And at Embry-Riddle, one of my biggest frustrations of going there was, the quality of instruction, super high, aircraft, amazing, environment, tech, all that, so good. So that was all great. However, I went through 6 or 7 flight instructors in my training. So when I went to solo, this guy that brought me to solo he flew with me maybe once. So I hardly knew this guy, and he flew me to some random airport. He got out. It was a hot start in Florida, and I was struggling to start it. Finally got it started, and then blackout. I don't remember a single thing. I was
blackout.
Full blackout.
Just done.
I truly do not remember my solo. I remember after my solo being so excited. I remember my shirt cut. I remember I did that whole thing. I remember what shirt I was wearing. I remember going out to eat with my family to celebrate. The actual solo itself, cannot remember. I was so scared. Fast forward, you start your flight training after being in aviation for a very long time. You've been around airplanes for a long time. You've flown in small airplanes for several years.
I live with an in-house instructor.
Yeah, well, and we owned our own plane, and you had flown with me throughout my career, so hundreds of hours. You had a very different attitude going into your solo.
Much different. So, as Mindy just said, like when it came down to me actually committing to getting my license, we started flying every day. And it came down to solo, and it was perfect out. It was dusk. We were in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was in a Skyhawk, a little 6-pack, by the way. I didn't get to fly anything fancy. And I don't even remember if my instructor or Mindy told me do 3 full stops.
We did.
They probably did.
For reference, if anyone doesn't know, a typical first solo is local at your own airport, and it's 3 full stop takeoffs and landings.
Yeah, so I did my solo, took off the first time, and you know that euphoric moment you get is like you're actually flying.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. Came down, landed, kissed the ground.
So jealous that you remember your solo. I was so scared I don't remember mine.
And then I taxi back with the crowd. So I'm going again.
Quickly, you just mentioned the crowd. Me and all my friends literally tailgated at the airport for Kevin's solo. He learned to fly at this like small uncontrolled field. So we literally had pickup trucks backed up to the runway, to the taxiway that was parallel.
I love a good crowd.
That was parallel to the runway, and we were all literally tailgating. Like, we had beers cracked, we're watching Kevin fly, we had music, we had a handheld radio listening to him make all his traffic calls, and every time he would taxi by us, we were like at the end of the taxiway, at the departure end of the runway, and he'd taxi by, and he'd have the window open, he'd stick his hand out, and he had the biggest smile, he'd be waving, and we'd all be cheering in the back of the tailgates.
So I just went up again. And then I landed. And then I went up again, and I landed. And then I went up again, and I landed.
Yeah, so he did his 3, and then all of us were, like, starting to pack up, like, like, he did so great. He's going to come in, and we're going to cut his shirt. We're all, like, getting ready for him to taxi back into the ramp where we were all sitting. And he just goes right by us and waves again. And we all look at him and like put our hands up and shrug our shoulders like, what are you doing? He went again. And we call it his victory lap. We were dying laughing because he had done his required 3. And then he went up again. He's like, we're not going to stop this. This is great. We're not
stopping this. We just keep ripping it. But that was a great day.
As on another note, if people were gathered to watch my solo, I would have never left the ground. I would have been in tears, like, do not watch me. I'm so scared. The fact that you had a crowd and you just ate it up and you were like...
And nailed it, too.
And you did. You had an amazing solo.
Nailed it.
And we were all taking photos and videos. It was like a whole thing. And then even funnier, then you go on one of your cross-country.
Oh, we're going to tell that, too. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You went on one of your cross-country solos. Me, as a wife, am just so, like, not
distraught.
Not scared, because I believe in you and your abilities even then. But obviously I'm nervous, right? Like, it's your, like, second or third solo, and you went on a cross-country solo. I'm tracking you on FlightAware, watching you. And I see you as you're heading back to where the aircraft's based, and I see you make a turn. I'm like, what is he doing?
Of course she's watching me.
Well, good thing I was, because then you would have got this little moment to yourself where I see the airplanes pointed at me.
I wanted to find you.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's on his solo. And instead of going straight back to the airport.
It was on the way, to be clear. I wasn't deviating from my...
It was on the way.
Required...
But you did a little circle over our house.
I did, didn't I?
Which was hilarious. I'm just like, the confidence in this man, that he's just up there flying alone, like, again, me back in my solo days, not confident. We've learned this. I would be boogieing back to the airport. That way I could shut down and be like, wiping my hands on this flight. Got it done. You were like, let's take some extra few minutes in the air. Let's go on a little joy flight.
Okay, let's back it up a little bit because that is funny. And people are going to start thinking I'm a little too confident. All right. So I'm going to share something that's embarrassing.
Oh, no.
On my first solo cross country, I went from Falcon Field to Anniston, Alabama. And of course, as a controller, I got flight following and I had my buddies, because it was my sector, talked me through the whole thing. We were just chatting the whole time for the whole 30 minutes on the lake. And then, they go to terminate me and I say, don't do that. Be there when I get back. And I come in and I was terrified. Like I was genuinely like, oh my gosh, this is happening.
Well, that's good to hear you're human.
Yes, I am human. Anniston is like an 8,000 foot long runway. I came in, I landed great, taxied back to the hold short line, ripped open a Gatorade bottle and filled it all up because I was literally pissing my pants because I was excited and nervous.
What a luxury to be a male. What a luxury.
So I am human. I filled up a whole Gatorade bottle and then a water bottle as well.
Oh my God.
And then I kept on going on. I went to Columbus, talked to my buddies. They talked me through the whole thing. We had a nice little hour chat while I was on break from work or something probably. But it was great. Like, I mean, there is no question. Anytime I send someone for a solo, like I want them to talk to me like a person before they go up because I want to know that they have some emotion because it's okay to be nervous. It's a crazy idea that you're spent all this time with somebody sitting there keeping you company that is supposed to be, the savior if you do anything wrong. And now you're by yourself. So I want to have those conversations the day of and see it in their eyes that there's some emotion there because that tells me they care.
Nerves are a good thing. You don't want them.
Nerves are a good thing.
I mean, there's good nerves and bad nerves, right? There's nervousness that helps situations, and then there's nervousness that makes situations worse.
Yeah, for me, when nerves come in, it keeps my scan like at a high level because you're always feeling like something's missing. And to me, when we fly, that's, I don't want to feel like something's missing, but to have that scan, like, okay, I need to constantly be just moving at a slow pace. No, don't panic, but that nerve is always there, and it's a good thing because it makes you care, keep moving, stays out of that tunnel vision. We get in that tunnel vision a lot.
So true. Well, on that note, we'll end the episode saying, invite us to your next solo. We'll have a tailgate party. We'll make some posters. We'll hang out on the pickup truck. We'll have a cooler full of beer for when you finish. And we'll just make this a thing. We'll hit the road.
Jack, don't you come back. We'll hit the road. Well, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Keep those submissions coming. Captain John Doe podcast is taking off. I shouldn't say we. Let's be clear. Mindy's crushing it on the socials. I'm a fan of the Instagram page already. So if you're not following on Instagram, be sure to go there. She's posting things all the time. And all those videos you see are all of hers, by the way. Like nothing you see is any AI or anything. It's all videos that Mindy's taken. And I love like the concept behind telling a story with just a random background video. It's so cool.
It's so simple, it hurts. Well, thanks for tuning in once again, and we will see you guys next time.
See you guys. Thanks for flying with Captain John Doe. If you have a story to share, visit CaptainJohnDoe.com and stay anonymous. New episodes every Wednesday. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and tell your favorite crew members.